everything stops. The noise of the world, the confusion of the heart, the weight of every past mistake, all of it fades in this moment. Because here, Belly finally speaks the truth she has been carrying for years. It's not just a confession. It's not just a decision. It's the moment that changes everything. From the very beginning, Belly's heart has lived in two worlds. One was filled with warmth and comfort, with Jeremiah's easy smile and constant devotion. The other was deeper, more complicated, built on years of history and silent longing. Conrad. Season 3 has been a storm of emotions for Belly. She's laughed, cried, and questioned herself again and again. At times, it felt like she was being pulled apart, standing between two brothers who each wanted her love in their own way. But episode 11 brings all of that tension to its peak. The love triangle has become too heavy to carry. Belly knows that she cannot keep avoiding the truth. She has to decide, not just for Jeremiah, not just for Conrad, but for herself. This moment is not about choosing between two people. It's about finding the courage to admit what her heart has always known. Every scene leading up to this choice shows the pressure she feels. The late-night talks, the stolen glances, the quiet arguments, they all build into one question that has been haunting her since the beginning. Who does she truly love? Jeremiah gives her a safe future. He's always been there, ready to catch her. But Conrad is something else. He is the summer that shaped her. He is the first love she never forgot, no matter how much she tried. As the episode unfolds, the weight of the decision becomes unbearable. Belly realizes that every hesitation has caused pain, not just to herself, but to both brothers. She knows that she can't stretch this story any longer. It's time to let go of fear. It's time to speak the truth. And so, the stage is set. One girl, two brothers, years of love and heartbreak behind them. In this moment, there can only be one choice. The air in episode 11 feels heavier than ever before. Every word, every silence, carries the weight of what is about to happen. You can almost feel Belly's heart racing as she steps closer to the moment she can't avoid. Her choice is no longer a distant thought. It's here, pressing against her, waiting for her to finally give it voice. The buildup begins not with big speeches or grand actions, but with quiet moments. Jeremiah's presence is steady, warm, familiar, like a hand she could always reach for. He tries to remind her of their bond, of the promises they made, of the love he has always given so freely. There is no hesitation in him, no second guessing. With Jeremiah, what you see is what you get. He loves her openly, loudly, in a way that never hides. But Conrad is different. His silence says more than words ever could. The way his eyes follow Belly, the way his shoulders tense when Jeremiah is near, the way he almost speaks but holds himself back, it all reveals a storm inside him. For years he has built walls around his feelings, afraid that letting them out would break everything. Yet, in this moment, those walls are cracking. The quiet glances, the brief pauses, the restrained emotions, they are louder than any declaration. This contrast is what builds the tension. Jeremiah pushes forward, fighting for her with every word. Conrad holds back, but in his restraint, his love feels undeniable, like a tide pulling her in. Belly stands in the middle, caught between what feels safe and what feels inevitable. Every look exchanged between them makes the air feel tighter. Every choice of words feels like it carries hidden meaning. The house feels smaller, the world feels closer, as if everything is waiting for Belly to make a decision. The creators of this scene know exactly what they're doing. The pacing slows down, stretching the tension so the audience can sit in the silence. It's not just about what Belly will say, it's about when she will say it. And that waiting makes every heartbeat louder. This is not just a love triangle anymore. It's the breaking point. Years of emotions are colliding in one night. For Belly, it's no longer about comparing to brothers. It's about admitting the truth she's been afraid to face. And as the tension builds, one thing becomes clear: silence can't last forever. The choice must be made. It begins softly. No dramatic music, no fireworks, just the weight of Belly's voice breaking through the silence. For so long, she has carried this uncertainty, bouncing between what feels right and what feels easy. But now, the moment refuses to wait. She finally lets go of the fear that has kept her trapped, and she speaks. Her confession doesn't come out perfect. It's shaky, it trembles, it feels raw because that's what truth sounds like. Belly admits what her heart has been whispering all along, that her love for Conrad never left, not even when she tried to bury it. Not even when she wanted to believe Jeremiah was the answer. Every summer, every glance, every fight has led to this. She finally says out loud the words that change everything. Conrad stands there, still as stone, almost not believing what he's hearing. For him, these words are more than a confession, they are a lifeline. He has spent years convincing himself he wasn't enough, that Belly deserved someone steadier, someone simpler, someone like Jeremiah. He told himself to stay quiet, to let her go, to not get in the way. But hearing her speak now shatters all those lies. The scene is simple, yet that's what makes it powerful. No big gestures, no cinematic kiss. Right away, just two people finally facing the truth they've both been running from. Belly's voice cracks. Her eyes are soft, searching, desperate for him to understand. She doesn't dress it up, doesn't try to make it sound perfect. She just tells him the truth. I choose you. And in that moment, the world seems to pause. For Conrad, it's as if every memory of Belly, the first summer, the late-night talks, the moments when he looked at her but couldn't say what he felt, come flooding back at once. He doesn't move right away because he's processing the impossible. She's choosing him, not the safe option, not the easy one, him. The tension doesn't vanish instantly. There's still hesitation, still a fragile silence between them. Because words like these don't erase the pain of the past. They don't erase the hurt, the misunderstandings, the walls built between them. But they do open the door to something new, something real, something that feels like destiny. The confession scene is quiet, but that's its strength. It doesn't need explosions to shake us. It's Belly, trembling but brave, finally saying what she's always known. And Conrad, stunned but alive again, realizing that for all the years he doubted, he was never wrong. She loves him. She always has. At first, Conrad doesn't move. He doesn't speak. He just stands there, frozen, as if his mind is trying to catch up with what his heart already knows. For so long, he's convinced himself that Belly was gone, that her choice was made, that he had to step aside for Jeremiah's sake. He built an armor of indifference, pretending not to care, pretending not to want. And now suddenly, that armor shatters. His silence is not emptiness. It's the storm inside him finally breaking through. Every muscle in his face tells a story. The way his eyes widen, the way his lips part but no words come out. The way his body seems to lean toward her as if pulled by something greater than willpower. For Conrad, this is not just a moment of joy, it's a moment of disbelief. After all the years of pushing her away, after all the nights he convinced himself she deserved better, Belly is standing in front of him and saying the words he thought he'd never hear. He doesn't rush into it. That's not who Conrad is. Jeremiah might have filled the silence with declarations, with promises, with a flood of emotion. But Conrad has always been careful, cautious, afraid that speaking his heart too soon might break everything. So his reaction is quiet, restrained, but it's powerful. His eyes soften. His shoulders drop, as if a weight he's carried for years has finally been lifted. You can almost hear his thoughts in that silence. Is this real? Does she mean it? After everything, can I finally allow myself to believe in this? Conrad's hesitation isn't rejection. It's awe. It's the fear of waking up and realizing this moment was only a dream. And then, slowly, the walls begin to fall. His voice, low and unsteady, finally answers her. He doesn't need long speeches. He doesn't need to convince her. His reaction is in the way he looks at her, as if she is the only thing in the world that matters. It's in the way his hand trembles slightly when he reaches for her. I'm unsure if it's really allowed. I'm unsure if this is really happening. Conrad's reaction is not loud. It's not dramatic, but it's overwhelming in its simplicity. Because for Conrad, who has spent years hiding how he feels, doing nothing is louder than doing everything, his quiet yes is louder than any declaration. His unspoken relief, his stunned joy, his tender disbelief, all of it says more than words ever could. And in that moment, the audience realizes Conrad never stopped loving Belly. He just stopped believing he was allowed to show it. And now, for the first time in years, he lets himself hope. He lets himself feel. He lets himself choose her back. It doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with a perfectly rehearsed speech. Belly's moment arrives in its rawest, truest, form-shaky, trembling, and full of honesty. For so long, she has been torn between what's safe and what's real. Between Jeremiah, who offered her stability and certainty, and Conrad, who carried her heart in silence even when he couldn't say it out loud. And here, at last, Belly stops running from herself. Her voice quivers, but her words are steady. I choose you. Those 3 words carry the weight of every summer that came before this one. The first time she looked at Conrad differently. The nights they spent talking on porches, in cars, by the ocean. The heartbreaks, the fights, the misunderstandings, all of it leads to this single declaration. It isn't just about choosing a boy. It's about choosing a history, a love that has been written into her life since the very beginning. Belly knows this choice will break someone. She knows Jeremiah, with his open heart and unwavering devotion, doesn't deserve this pain. But she also knows that choosing Jeremiah out of guilt, out of fear, out of the need to avoid hurting someone, that wouldn't be real love. And Belly has finally reached the point where she cannot keep living in half-truths. She has to be honest, even if honesty cuts deep. When she says, I choose you, the words don't just hang in the air, they transform it. The silence becomes heavy with meaning. Conrad's world shifts in that instant. All the times he told himself to let her go, all the nights he convinced himself she'd be happier with someone else. All the guilt he carried for loving her while Jeremiah stood in the same house. Suddenly, all of it collides with the truth of her choice. For Belly, it's more than love. It's courage. For the first time, she isn't hiding behind the safety of indecision. She isn't avoiding the pain of making someone unhappy. She isn't pushing her own feelings down to make things easier. She's choosing Conrad openly, fully, without hesitation. And in that act, she's also choosing herself, her own happiness, her own truth, her own story. The beauty of this moment lies in its simplicity. Belly doesn't dress it up with explanations. She doesn't justify it. She doesn't apologize. Simply says what her heart has been screaming all along. And that simplicity is what makes it so powerful. In that moment, the triangle ends. The confusion ends. The pretending ends. Belly chooses. And her choice is Conrad. The words have been spoken. I choose you. And with those 3 simple words, the weight of years suddenly lifts from the air. For so long, this love has been buried under silence, missteps, and fear. But now, there is no more hiding. There is no more pretending. Belly's choice opens the door to something pure and undeniable relief. For Conrad, it's like breathing for the first time in years. His face softens in a way we haven't seen before, almost as if every layer of armor he's carried has fallen away in an instant. His eyes glisten, not with sadness this time, but with the overwhelming rush of hope. This isn't a fantasy, isn't a memory, it's real. Belly is here, choosing him after everything. Belly feels it too. The fear that has haunted her, the doubt that made her second-guess every step, it fades. What's left is a quiet peace. Her chest loosens, her shoulders drop, and for the first time in a long time, she isn't torn in two. She isn't standing between what's safe and what's right. She isn't carrying the weight of indecision. She has spoken her truth, and it feels like freedom. The release doesn't come with grand gestures. It comes in small details that say everything. The way Conrad exhales, almost like he's been holding his breath for years. The way Belly's lips tremble into a fragile smile, the kind that only comes when you've walked through fire and finally found your way out. The way their eyes lock, holding each other steady, as if both are afraid to blink and lose this moment. And then there are the tears. Not just tears of sadness, but of release. For Belly, They are tears of letting go of guilt, of confusion, of the fear of breaking someone else's heart. For Conrad, they are tears of relief, of realizing he no longer has to pretend he doesn't love her, no longer has to bury the deepest truth of his life. The space between them feels charged. It's not just attraction, not just affection, it's destiny, finally allowed to breathe. They don't need to rush toward each other. The connection is already there, stronger than ever. The audience feels it too, the warmth that fills the room, the invisible weight that finally disappears. This release is not just about romance. It's about years of struggle finally paying off. It's about two people who have hurt, healed, and grown, finally reaching the place where they can stand together. It's about choosing love, not out of fear, not out of guilt, but out of truth. And in that release, there is beauty. Because sometimes, the most powerful love stories are not about fireworks, but about the quiet. Relief of finally finding your way home. For every smile that Belly and Conrad share in this moment, there is a shadow that lingers just outside of it tanned. That shadow belongs to Jeremiah. Because while Belly's "I choose you" feels like freedom for her, and like salvation for Conrad, for Jeremiah it feels like betrayal, like loss, like the ground has been ripped out from under him. Jeremiah has always loved differently than Conrad. He never hid it. He never stayed quiet. From the beginning, he gave Belly all of him open, vulnerable, unafraid. Where Conrad hesitated, Jeremiah stepped forward. Where Conrad pulled away, Jeremiah stayed. And that difference made him believe, deep down, that he would be the one she chose. That his love, constant and steady, would finally be enough. But in this moment, Jeremiah realizes the cruel truth. Sometimes love isn't about who tries harder. Sometimes it isn't about who is safer or who shows up more often. Sometimes it's simply about the pull of the heart, about the unexplainable gravity between two people. And Belly's gravity has always, inevitably, pulled her back to Conrad. The pain is written in the silence. He doesn't need to cry out loud for the audience to feel it. It's in the way his smile falters, the way his eyes dim, and the way his body seems to shrink, like he's suddenly carrying the weight of being second best. Again, for Jeremiah. This isn't just about losing Belly. It's about being reminded that no matter how much he gave, no matter how much he loved, her heart was never fully his. What makes it worse is that Jeremiah isn't just losing a girl. He's losing a piece of his brotherhood. The triangle was never only about romance, it was about family, about two brothers caught in a storm that neither of them asked for. And now, as Belly's choice echoes in the air, Jeremiah has to face the fact that things will never be the same. Not between him and Belly. Not between him and Conrad. Not even within himself. There's tragedy in his silence. Because Jeremiah doesn't explode. He doesn't fight. He doesn't beg. He just feels. He just breaks quietly, and that quietness cuts deeper than anger ever could. He knows this is the end of his story with Belly. And deep down, maybe he always knew it would end this way. But knowing doesn't make it hurt any less. In this moment, the audience feels the weight of the triangle in its truest form. One person's joy is another's heartbreak. One choice gives life to a love story and death to another. And while Belly and Conrad finally find their freedom, Jeremiah is left in silence, carrying the pain of being the one not chosen, the confession. And choice don't live only in Belly's words. They live in the atmosphere, the way the scene is framed. The details the creators carefully layer in, the symbolism that makes this moment feel inevitable. Every angle, every note of music, every flicker of light is designed to tell us something deeper. The lighting is the first thing to notice. When Belly finally speaks, the room feels softer, warmer. It's as if the weight of years has lifted and the world itself is giving them permission to breathe again. Shadows linger in the background, a quiet reminder of the pain and heartbreak still present. But the light rests gently on Belly and Conrad, pulling the focus toward them. It's symbolic of what this moment means, stepping out of darkness and into clarity. Then there's the silence. Silence isn't empty, it's full. In the seconds after Belly's confession, The lack of music forces us to sit in the stillness, to feel the raw weight of her choice. The quiet lets us hear the sound of breaths, the soft trembling in her voice, the subtle shift in Conrad's expression. It's as if the world is holding its breath with them. But when the music finally does return, it doesn't explode. It rises slowly, tenderly, like a tide creeping back onto shore. It's symbolic of the love between Belly and Conrad, quiet, powerful, unstoppable. The score doesn't tell us how to feel. It reflects what they already feel, what they've always felt. A connection that has been waiting for this moment to be spoken aloud. The framing of the scene is another layer. Notice how often Belly and Conrad are shown in close-ups, isolated from the rest of the world. Jeremiah lingers on the edges, a presence in the background, but the camera keeps drawing us back to the two of them. It's as if the story itself is telling us, this is their moment. This is the love that everything has been building toward. Even the small gestures carry meaning. The way Conrad doesn't rush to touch her, but instead lets the weight of her words settle first, it shows restraint, respect, and disbelief all at once. The way Belly steps closer, body leaning forward without realizing it, shows how her heart has already made the choice before her words caught up.